Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. But before I do, why don't we take a look at what Black Lantern Dave and my friend Trevor had to say about it.
I thought it was really good. I mean, it wasn't as good as the first one. It was similar. I would have liked to see a little bit more backstory. It was very action-y.
It was very similar to the first one. A lot more comedy.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it wasn't a good thing. I think there was a little too much comedy. And there was little, like, one-liners from, like, henchmen in the background that were just like, really? They're just throwing that in there just for laughs.
There were a lot of little one-liners that were just for laughs. And there's a very, very serious scene when there's a loss.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I can't tell you.
Yeah, let's keep it spoiler light.
Yeah, but there's a very dramatic scene. And they have a little one-liner right in the middle of it, and it really sucked a lot of the tragedy out of it. So that was kind of a bummer. But yeah, I mean, they had a lot of one-liners, which was generally pretty funny. But I mean, other than that, I mean, lots of good fights. And,
it's a good movie, solid movie,
yeah,
good ride.
Yeah,
a lot of fun, explodey booms.
Yeah, yeah, it's on par with Iron Man 2 and 3. I mean, generally pretty good, not nearly as good as the original, I think, but pretty awesome.
Ultron was a little
idiosyncratic.
He wasn't very...
It was good. I mean, not everything translates well from comics, but again, it was a good step. Yeah, it's
Vision didn't feel misplaced. They played him into this story
very well.
Yeah.
In fact, and earlier than I expected in the movie. I figured he was going to be one of the little spoilers at the end of the movie, not a major player. Well, I've tried to keep myself in the black on this movie, so I don't make any judgments in advance.
Good call.
I had no idea that the Vision was going to. I knew he was going to be in it. I'd heard rumors, but I had no idea what was actually how big a role he was going to play. I was pretty pretty taken aback by that, and it was really well done. Really well done. And of course, his name escapes me. But I love the actor that plays him. He's played Jarvis in all the other Iron Man movies.
Yes.
And it was. I'm glad that he finally gets some face time. That's really cool. But no, I mean, it was very, very cool, the whole plot. Although I would have liked Ultron to touch on. I mean, he did make clear his point, the reason he was trying to sort of end the world, destroy humanity, all that stuff. But I would have liked just a little bit more information on him. Why is it that he seems so fractured? I mean, yeah, they kind of go into that, but they don't give a lot of reason. He has a lot of Tony Stark's idiosyncrasies and speech patterns and things like that.
That's true.
And the only thing I kind of pieced together, and maybe I missed it, was that he started reviewing a lot of footage of Tony Stark, so maybe that's where he got a lot of his personality.
Yeah, from the get-go, Ultron was just like, let's destroy the world. And there wasn't really like
there was no build-up.
Why.
There was no build-up, which would have been nice.
It was just, I think it was the cliche, like, oh, humans are bad, we need to kill the humans to protect the world.
It would have been nice for them to sort of build up that character just a little bit.
Yeah, strangely enough, like, Ultron was probably not I want to say the worst, but like it was definitely like the
character-wise the least
interesting of the movie. Yeah, it was much more fun to watch more of just the event. Like, we already know everything about the Avengers. It was more fun to watch them still
interact with each other,
continue to like grow as a team, and then every time Ultron's on screen, it's just like, oh, evil robot, quips, like
it felt like they wrote the part for the actor.
James Spader, was that his name?
James Spader. Yeah, and he's got a very odd way of speaking, and I mean, the only thing I've ever seen him in before then was The Office, and in The Office he's just awkward and uncomfortable, and he's got a lot of these weird quotes and things like that just come out of nowhere. That really filtered into Ultron a lot. It felt like I was watching Robert California in like robot form, like. But other than that, I mean, it wasn't too distracting, I don't think.
Still a good movie.
Yeah, still a very good movie. Still definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. On par with the first one, so if you like the first one, you're going to like this one.
Yeah, you're going to like the second one.
Yeah.
You're going to like the second one.
And also joining us today is Greg from Shack News. How you doing, Greg?
Hey, Bob. Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I just got back from seeing Age of Ultron. It is just after 1:30 in the morning here. So, let's talk about the movie. First, let's talk about the fun stuff. The stuff that did not work. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, the stuff that didn't work? I think the romance between the Hulk and Black Widow was so forced. I couldn't believe it for 1 second.
I don't know. I imagine the Hulkster might be packing something away pretty nicely that you might want.
You had to go there. You had to go there.
I had to go there. It's what I do.
Once you go green, you never go back.
Oh, God. That was the one thing. I was like one of the main things that distracted me the most from everything was that forced relationship between her and Bruce Banner. Something that wasn't even set up in the first movie, really, at all. And now in this, all of a sudden, it's in this movie, like full force. So I had a hard time getting into that.
One thing that I found kind of off-putting was how the first Avengers movie was not afraid of being colorful. It knew its source material, and it was not afraid of acknowledging that, yes, it's a comic book. So it had a lot of very comic booky sort of colors in it. This movie, however, seems to take a cue from Man of Steel for some reason, and kind of dim down the colors, like, oh god, we're going back into the new 21st century film motif, where everything's going to be all dark and gray and green. Like, no, the rest of the movie is so fun. It's got a lot of humor to it. Let's actually reflect some of that. This is a fun movie. Let's have fun looking at it. Like, know what I mean?
Yeah, the humor, I mean, like, definitely the colors were a lot darker in this film, and like you said, it was more gritty and, like, less saturations and stuff, and I don't know if that essentially fit the tone of the film, because the tone of there wasn't really a tone in the film. The tone was just, hey, I'm Ultron, and I'm going to destroy the world. And that was really the only tone the whole movie, so
the tone was kind of a mixed bag. On the one hand, we've got this, a robot apocalypse that's on the rise, but on the other hand, there's all kinds of quips going on all over the place, which work. The humor really did work. Kept things kind of sort of light for the most part, but it's like, getting kind of a weird mood thing going on here. Not sure what this is supposed to be heading for.
Yeah, but I think the biggest problem with the film that, like, what it didn't do right was Ultron. I think they tried way too hard to make him, they tried to humanize him, obviously with his design. He looks nothing like his comic design. And James Spader did a great job as his voice. Like, it was a perfect match for Ultron, but they made him too human. Ultron's supposed to be an artificial intelligence that is justifying extinction of the human race. It's basically he's sacrificing security. He's sacrificing freedom for security. He's killing a bunch of people, thinking that if I kill enough people off, then we can rebuild, and then society will be better for it. But
yeah, it's kind of sort of implied that he is a bit more human than you might think because of him scanning a whole bunch of Tony's mannerisms, I suppose. So that might explain why he's kind of a smartass in this movie. But there did need to be a bit more of an evolution towards that, because he's supposed to be a computer program first and foremost. If we see him start off all cold and robotic and calculating and all that, and then divulge into the comedic Starkisms, that would make sense.
You could too, but at the same time, though, if you look at like characters like Spock, a character who's completely emotionless, or any Vulcan from any Star Trek film or television show, and they can still be really interesting characters with no emotion. You know what I mean? Because they're run completely with logic, which is how I thought they were going to do.
And if they want humor, the humor can come from the lack of humor in that character.
Mm-hmm. And I just thought that I thought that's how James Spader was going to portray his character until I started seeing clips of him being like, "Oh, come on, guys, what's going on? I'm Ultron. I'm just going to be sarcastic and witty." But like, it makes sense that the way they did in the movie, it's still something that I wasn't really expecting in the long run, unfortunately.
And speaking of Ultron's character, I was not expecting him to be a fan of Pinocchio. I mean, yeah, we see it in the trailer, but he references it like several times. That must be his favorite movie.
Probably. I mean, but the thing that links me to my biggest problem with the film in general is that it's such a baseline plot, and I don't think the movie or the writers gave the moviegoers enough credit to kind of work with a convoluted plot. Like, there should have been like, what makes a machine a man? Like, I was waiting for that kind of tone to pop up, or what do the ends justify the means? There were two things I was waiting for to be addressed in the film that just never came up, and I was like, really? You're not going to even touch that? I mean, especially when The Vision came out, I'm like, we're really not going to touch what makes a human being a human? We're just going to glance it over and just have special effects? Okay, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, The Vision. Didn't he kind of admit to the whole beauty of humanity being their imperfections?
It does, but it was so rushed. It was so
just a little bit
last
too
minute
quick,
wrapped in there and like just thrown in. Because I thought we were going to see Vision a lot earlier in the film. I thought the whole film
I had no idea
be,
how much of him we were going to see.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought they were going to fight him first and then lose and then try to make him come over to the Avengers side after they show him. But he literally was in this movie so quickly, and you blink and you miss him almost. You know? So.
But he was awesome. Spoiler alert here. I don't want to give anything away too much here. Or is this a spoiler? I don't really know because, again, I don't really know this character all that well. Vision is powered by something very specific, and I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, or is this a common thing that is well known among Marvel fans?
He wasn't powered by what you're talking about in the comics. I don't think he was powered by that. I think he was.
Okay, so I'm going to stop myself then.
That was just purely something that they did for the movies.
Something for the cinematic universe.
That's fine. I think that was an interesting way to take it. But yeah, he's not powered by that in the comics. If people know what we're talking about, he's not. I don't think he's powered like that in the comics at all. He could have been.
Yes,
it's been years since I've read comics, so they could have changed it. But not to my knowledge.
You call yourself a nerd. Speaking of comics and changes that were made for the movies and all that, these Marvel movies have usually been they've really been sticklers as far as the intermovie continuity went. One thing that really bothered me is that there is no explanation as to where Iron Man came from. I mean, yes, we know he's Tony Stark. We know Tony Stark created the Iron Man suit, but at the end of Iron Man 3, he quit. He completely gave up being Iron Man for Pepper's sake. And then at the beginning of the movie, oh, hey, here's Iron Man. He's back all of a sudden.
No, see, first of all, we're referencing Iron Man 3, which we shouldn't be doing because I don't consider that movie canon. But I think in the third movie, what they were trying to do is try to say that, like, Tony was obsessing over trying to make the world a better place, and he was just building all these Iron Man suits, and he became obsessed with his work. And at the end, he didn't quit being Iron Man. He was just going to finally understand how to run both his lives as Tony Stark and Iron Man. He came, like, into conclusion of himself.
I guess I need to watch that movie again, but I seem to remember him shutting the whole Iron Man program down.
No,
he even went and
he killed
took
all the
away
suits that he made.
What?
He killed all the suits that he made. Like, he destroyed them all because it was just that was just symbolism of him getting over his obsession with Iron Man and realizing
he also got rid of the arc reactor in his chest to stop him from ever becoming Iron Man again, I thought.
Oh, he did get the Iron Man. Maybe he does, because maybe he figures out a different way to power it. I mean, does that really matter? Because he doesn't have the arc reactor in the comics. No, he does have the arc reactor in the comics. In the Ultimate
he's
comics.
kind of stuck with it.
But did he have it in the original Iron Man? Did he have it?
Yes, he did. And actually, if you want to get technical, in the original Iron Man, he was stuck in the suit. He couldn't get out.
Yeah, I'm not a big Iron Man reader. My Iron Man knowledge is limited to the Ultimate version of Iron Man. That's the only one I've ever known.
I know a very few things about the main universe Iron Man, but as far as the movies go, he took out his arc reactor, and all of a sudden he's back as Iron Man in this movie with no explanation. Hello, what's going on here?
Yeah, that is a little weird. I don't know why they did that.
I don't know.
Why they did that.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have the arc reactor, how's he powering the suits?
Maybe I found a built-in power supply.
Yeah, possibly.
Or maybe this took place before. Maybe Iron Man 3 takes place before Age of Ultron. Is that a possibility? I mean, and we know it takes place after the Avengers.
It does take place after the Avengers,
but we don't know if it takes place before or after the Ultron movie. I suppose
that's a theory worth exploring, actually. Is this a prequel to Iron Man 3? I don't know. Damn you for making me think.
Well, what did you think of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver? Because you're more of a DC buff, and what did you think of their characters in the film?
I don't know what me being a DC buff has to do with it. Although I was a little bit curious as to their involvement in the story until they're revealed as being experimentations as opposed to being mutants. I heard they were going to be in this movie, so thinking, wait a minute, are mutants in this movie? Because Spider-Man is now going to be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is awesome because you do need him for the upcoming Civil War. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have Magneto's kids in this now. I don't know what that's all about, but oh no, they're just some random kids who are experimented on. Mm-hmm. Okay, for the sake of the story, I suppose that makes sense.
No, I think they were already mutants, and I think when they joined Hydra, they just got their powers enhanced. Like, they were already using them for experiments, but they were already mutants before they joined Hydra.
Oh yeah, that's something else. Hydra. I thought that they were more or less dismantled, aside from their agents in S.H.I.E.L.D. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Winter Soldier.
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about, like, the only canon I know is from Winter Soldier. I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The only reason I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is because I can't stand how Disney starts,
about that
they spoon feed people. Like, they say, oh, do you like Marvel? Here's a little bit of Marvel, and they, like, spoon feed you baby food because they're so afraid that if MODOK shows up or Baron Zemo shows up, you won't buy it. You won't buy into the canon because they're really corny characters, you know?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a segue, but that's actually something that I really like about the show Gotham. It's like, yeah, okay, there is no Batman in this story, but it's got so much of Batman's mythology in here already for you all to enjoy. This isn't spoofing, this is, here, have all this Batman stuff, it's awesome!
It's Batman without Batman.
I was not expecting that to work, but it does somehow. So yeah, on top of my review for Age of Ultron, there's my review for Gotham. Go watch it.
Go watch it.
Let's see.
Do we talk about what the movie did right?
Yes, we've talked about the negatives for long enough. Talk about the good stuff now.
All right, so what I think the movie did right, first of all, was Hawkeye, because I think Hawkeye didn't get a lot of screen time in the first Avengers film. Like, he got screen time, but he was being mind controlled.
Yes,
and
yes.
He really,
which, by the way, he's not a fan of. I love that joke.
He really came into his own this film. They gave him a lot more screen time, and I think that actor really did read all the incarnations of Hawkeye, because his mannerisms, the way he talks, is exactly like he does in the comics and in the cartoons. And
that was really good, because all the other Avengers have their own movies, so we've seen what they're all about, but who the hell's Hawkeye? We don't really know. I've heard him being compared as the Aquaman of the Avengers. So, yeah, let's give this guy a couple of cool scenes here and there. By the way, Warners, please don't mess with Aquaman too badly in Batman vs. Superman, please. Aquaman's
you have to cut to a clip of the Family Guy where Aquaman throws the starfish now. You have to do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Family Guy jokes enough about Aquaman, as does Robot Chicken. Leave the guy alone, he's awesome! One thing I really liked was how they were playing up the theme about all the collateral damage that happens in superheroing. And how do they do it? They go to Black Panther's country. What's the name of that?
Wakanda.
What?
Wakanda,
thank you. They basically create the Wakandan version of 9/11. Of course, there were significantly fewer casualties than on that terrible day, but still, it's like, oh wow, we are really messing up here. We need to rein it in a bit. So then we have the whole bit at the end where they're trying to literally save as many people as possible on top of just stopping all the wanton destruction and death and all that. So that was good. And Cap says that this is what S.H.I.E.L.D. is supposed to be, as they're carting civilians away from the harm. That was awesome. Because that was the whole bit about Winter Soldier, about how S.H.I.E.L.D. shouldn't be throwing their weight around. They should just be helping people. So that was good.
You didn't see? Did you happen to notice that, like, the act structure, like, was exactly the same in Avengers 2 as it was in the first Avengers?
I suppose, but seeing as how the first Avengers worked really well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know.
Exactly, but toward the it became kind of predictable after, because they're gonna form the team, they're gonna go fight together, they're gonna not be able to work together, they're gonna lose, then they're gonna come back stronger, working together as a team, and then Cap, Hawkeye, and Black Widow are gonna be tasked with saving civilians as Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk do all the damage, just like in the first film.
And I think that's totally fine. You got to have some kind of inner turmoil among the group. Otherwise, you can't just have them be all buddy-buddy all the time. And don't get me wrong, I love it when superheroes come together and they actually enjoy the experience. Mm-hmm. But sooner or later, they're going to butt heads in some capacity. One of my biggest problems with Batman vs. Superman coming up is how they start out hating each other and fighting each other. Or at least that's what it looks like. It's like, guys, no.
I don't want to start talking about that movie, because if we start talking about that movie, we're going to go off on like a 45-minute tangent.
Yes. We want to keep this brief.
Let's focus on Ultron. We'll do a separate video if you want to talk about Batman, Superman, the movie.
Hey, I'm game. There's something. Oh, yes. I was talking about the conflicts in among the other Avengers. One thing I really liked was how snarky they all were with each other, but it was never to the point where you were thinking, "My God, why are these people friends? Why do they work together? They hate each other." That never comes up. There's ribbing on each other. They're joking around. They're poking at each other. They give Captain America all kinds of crap for the whole language bit.
I was impressed with how equal each one of the Avengers got screen time. It really was divided pretty good throughout the whole film. It didn't focus more on one character than another. It was pretty equal, except for
Hawkeye. Yeah, they did give him a lot more screen time, which is good. But yeah, on the topic of other movies that we would be talking about for hours if given the opportunity. Yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta go here. I cannot watch the first 3 Transformers films without thinking, Bumblebee, why are you hanging out with Sam? He hates you! He's an asshole!
He's been beified.
Just go away! Go with Optimus!
Do something. Do anything. Anything but that. Don't do that. Just go. Oh, okay, and I'm out. That's basically Bob watching the Transformers movie, and I'm out.
If I had my own car at the time, I would have walked out of the first movie at the backyard scene.
But see, that was one of the things about the Avengers film that kind of made me think Michael Bay, and here's why. And that's because it wasn't as deep as I thought it was going to be for an Avengers film, and there wasn't as much character development as I thought there was going to be for a Joss Whedon film. Like, it was a lot of mindless action. And at Act 2, I thought Act 2 really dragged the whole thing out. Like, okay, they're beaten, they're going to go to the farm, Nick Fury's going to give them a speech, just like in the first one, and they're going to come back together stronger and faster. And then the big spoiler at the end, the thing what I was waiting for the most was an explanation on who the hell Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were, because you hear their names, I think, twice in the whole... You hear their last name multiple times, but you hear their names, you hear Quicksilver's name once, Pietro once, Maria Hill says it. Or is it Maria?
Yeah,
Maria
actually, I can't remember them saying actually Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch. Do they actually say their names in that movie?
They say Pietro Maximoff, they say the twins Maximoff, and they say Pietro Maximoff, and then you don't even know who Scarlet Witch's name is until Ultron says Wanda, which is like, what do you, like... You're introducing new characters, and you're not even, telling us their first names. Like, come on, movie, give me a break.
Twin 1 and Twin 2, there you go.
Yeah, basically.
I guess we're gonna have to agree to disagree on what mindless means, because, yeah, mindless action to me means bay. And that is frickin' stupid. Yeah, if this is mindless action, I will happily take this kind of mindless action.
It was done very well. Like if you talk about the good things in the movie, the last scene where they're fighting the Ultron bots was done, literally was done page for page from comic. It's exactly like that in the comic when they're fighting the Ultron bots. I was like, this is done very well. There are just some certain decisions that I don't like. Like you said, I don't know why Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were in the movie to begin with, because they really didn't add anything to the plot, essentially. Like, there's
not
the only
really.
thing,
No,
the
if you're
entire
gonna
thing she does
take
is the
these
mind
iconic
control.
characters, it should be.
That's it. That's the only thing she does. You could have swapped out anything else to
Yeah,
do that.
for-
Any other Ultron, Borg, or technology to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure there must have been some other telepaths in the Marvel universe that aren't directly related to the X-Men, right?
Well, in the universe, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are Avengers. So, like, they're Avengers for a long time, actually. And
Before their affiliation with the X-Men?
yes. No, they were X-Men villains first. And then they eventually...
Oh, yeah, I know that,
switched
but...
over. Then they eventually switched over and joined the Avengers. They became like...
I just think it's weird that they would include them in this movie without any implication that Magneto or Professor X are running around. It's like, really?
Oh, that doesn't bug me. The fact that they don't call them mutants and there's no talk about Magneto as their father, that didn't bug me at all. What bugged me is that we're not giving an explanation of how their powers work, especially Scarlet Witch's, because hers are vastly, vastly convoluted and complex. We're not given how those work, and we don't really get much development for them. We get your standard, we were kids and you killed our parents and we blame you. You get that.
It was pretty much the same backstory as Whiplash in Iron Man 2, wasn't it?
Copy paste movie cliche, you know. But I don't understand why they were in the film, to be honest. I was looking forward to seeing them the most because I really wanted to see how they were done, and I just thought they were thrown in
rushed.
too rashly, too quick, and just done incorrectly. But that's just me.
One last thing I really loved about this was the fight between Iron Man and Hulk.
That's mindless action. That's great, though. I loved it.
It seems to me mindless action means stupid action. This was well done action.
No. I mean, it was a great action scene. It was done fantastic. It was a great.
Yes,
great
and he designed it specifically to battle the Hulk. He's got this thing in his arm that actually wraps around the Hulk's fist so he can stop the Hulk from hitting him. I was like, that's really smart. And again, we got the whole destruction and civilian casualties thing coming into play. It's like, wow, guys, tone it down a bit. This is bad.
I would have liked to see what the Hulk was seeing, because obviously, like when Scarlet Witch did her magic on him, like he was seeing something. I want to know what he was seeing, because we got to see Cap's vision.
Oh yeah, they didn't show what he was.
We got to see Iron Man's vision. We didn't get to see what she did to Hulk, what he was seeing, you know, behind the mind control.
That's right. We didn't see that. Good point. So, final thoughts, Greg?
I think it was a great action film. I mean, it was funny. It had its moments. Like any film that's not a perfect superhero movie, but I don't think any are. And I really wish that for future Marvel movies, Disney gives their viewers more credit to take wackier villains and more unbelievable story arcs, and just give them more credit than they did now. They didn't give us very much credit in this movie, and I felt kind of hurt by that.
Yep. I would almost agree with you, except I thought that Ultron was appropriately wacky enough. I mean, come on, he's singing lyrics from a Pinocchio, for God's sake.
That is true.
That is hilarious. So, yes, I would recommend that you go see Avengers Age of Ultron. Maybe see it in 3D, maybe don't. I don't know. I just saw the 2D screening, and I liked it fine, just as it was. Closing remarks, Greg?
No, I already said my closing remarks. I'm pretty much good.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you next time.
Subscribe, like, follow, comment, share, watch more.